If you are thinking of moving to Texas, and particularly the Dallas area, there are some things that you need to know. Now, we've got a list today for you of 8 things that you need to know if you're thinking of moving to Texas. Some of these are going to be ones that you've heard before. Others might surprise you. Stay tuned. Welcome back. I'm Kelly Vaughan with the Vaughan team and Keller Williams McKinney. Thank you for joining us. Today we're talking about 8 things that you need to know if you were thinking about moving to Texas. Number 1, housing prices. Housing prices in Texas have gone up quite a bit in the last 12 months, but they are still very relatively affordable, especially compared to the 2 coasts and other major cities. In the Dallas area, the average home is running about 2,000 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and this home will run you about $300,000 depending on the area you live in. Now, the numbers I'm using are all Dallas area numbers, but the trends are, it is safe to say, are definitely applicable to other major cities in Texas. Number 2, the weather. It's hot. It's hot, plain and simple. This past winter notwithstanding, where we had epic freeze, epic snow, my kids were out sledding, building snowmen. That's not normally the case in Texas. In the Dallas area, the summers, the median temperature is about 95 to 100 degrees in the summer. And then in the winter, the median temperature is going to be about 40 degrees. In Texas, the weather includes the fact that we really only have, let's call it 3 seasons. We have probably half a season of spring and half a season of fall. And then we have summer, which runs from probably May through the end of September. And then we have winter, which runs probably from December through February. All the rest of it is pretty predictable. There is a saying here that if you don't like the weather, wait a minute. And it is not at all uncommon during the winter for us to have ice and snow one day and sunny and 60 the next. So if you come to Texas, first and foremost, make sure your car and your house both have air conditioning. You will absolutely need it. And if you can, get a house with a swimming pool or find a neighborhood that has one. Not only will your kids appreciate it, but you will too. Along the vein of weather, number 3 is we're going to talk about tornadoes. And where I'm talking about this is particularly in North Texas. We are right in Tornado Alley. So in the spring and in the fall, you will find that we have not only some really huge thunderstorms and hailstorms, but we also have tornadoes. Tornadoes are such a fact of life in this area that we have monthly tornado siren drills. The first Saturday of every month, the tornado sirens in local cities go off at precisely 12 o'clock noon to make sure that not only are the sirens working, but people can hear them. So when you're buying a house in North Texas, make sure that you scope them out and find an interior room or closet that you can use as your tornado shelter. It's going to need to be on the first floor, and it's going to need to have no windows, and it's going to need to be interior. So it could be an understairs storage area like it is in my house, or it could be a closet in a spare bedroom or your master closet. If it is interior to the house and there are not windows, that is going to be a perfect tornado shelter for you and your family. Next is the job market. Texas is a very business-friendly state. So not only is it a great place to build a business, but it's also a great place to find a job. Jobs in Texas are more than just the oil industry. Now, we love the oil industry. I am an oil brat myself. My father was in the oil industry, so very familiar with the ups and downs and the cyclical nature of the oil and gas industry. But also we're talking in major cities, we're talking tech, manufacturing, healthcare, education, the service industry. All of these have huge presences in all of the major cities and are great places to find jobs. Texas is very, as I said, very job friendly, very business friendly, and it's a great place to find your next career. All right, next we're going to talk about traffic. Texas is a car state. Most of the cities and towns in Texas are going to need to be accessed by cars. There is mass transit in Texas. In the Dallas-Fort Worth area, we have the DART, which is the Dallas Area Rapid Transit, and they have a light rail system and a bus system. And then in Fort Worth, there is the TRE, which is the Trinity Rail Express, and that runs in and around Fort Worth. But what you will find is that most of the public transportation does not go to the outlying areas. It really does stay in the city limits of the major cities. So the metro in Houston pretty much stays in the Houston proper. The DART in Dallas goes as far north as Plano, and that's it. So if you live further north, or you live in the outlying areas, or you live outside of a major metropolitan area, you're going to need a car. The other fact of life in Texas is that there is always road construction. I've lived in Dallas for over 20 years, and the construction in this area is constant. There are always roads being built or added to. In Houston, where I grew up, my great-grandmother used to live in Houston, and they were working on I-45 when she lived there. They're still working on I-45. It never stops. So road construction and traffic that is caused by it is a fact of life in Texas. The other thing related to traffic is going to be the fact that all of the roads have so many different names. In Dallas in particular, you have US 75, which runs north-south straight through downtown Dallas. That is also called the North Central Expressway. We have I-35, which is called the Stemmons Freeway in certain parts of Dallas. We have the George Bush Turnpike, which is 190, Highway 190 and 161. It goes sort of around the northern part of the Dallas area. 635, which is also called LBJ Freeway. There's also probably half a dozen Beltline roads, and they don't connect. So if you're moving to any of the major metropolitan areas, it's important to learn not only the official names of the major highways, but also the local names as well. All right, let's get into some stuff that is a little bit lesser known about Texas. First, we've got football. Football is a passion in Texas. Every high school on Friday nights is going to have a football game, and particularly in smaller towns, if you are looking for your neighbors, they're going to be at the football game. In the Dallas area, we have at least 4 school districts off the top of my head that have stadiums that cost in excess of $40 million to build. So we have high schools that have better football stadiums than some colleges. Football at all levels is really a national pastime in Texas, starting with the peewees, the little kids, all the way up to the pros. We've got Dallas Cowboys and the Houston Texans. College, semi-pro, all of it. Football is a way of life in Texas. Next, let's talk barbecue. In Texas, barbecue means beef and brisket. So don't come here thinking that barbecue is anything else. Also, expect your barbecue sauce to be ketchup based and pretty sweet. If you are from North Carolina and looking for a vinegar based sauce, you're going to be a little bit disappointed. Along the lines of food, let's talk tacos. Tacos are life in Texas. And most places, most Tex-Mex or Mexican food places are judged by the quality of their tacos and their fajitas. But what I will tell you is, if you're looking for the best taco place in most cities, it's probably in your local gas station. Yeah, I'm not kidding. Local gas stations have a ton of phenomenal taco shops, so you can fill up your tank and your belly at the same time. So those are some things that you may not have known about Texas. If you are thinking of moving to Texas, we have a relocation guide for you that you can access down in the description box and also up in the banner of our YouTube page. They're both right there for you. It is Collin County specific, but it is a great resource for you that's available just for you. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great day. Be kind to each other. We'll see you next time. Bye.